All right. Hello, everyone. Justin and I are here again for a kind of just-in-time burn down conversation for you all this week. Welcome in. I know weather is starting to turn nice, and a lot of guys are thinking about making burn down applications. So, Justin and I just wanted to touch on a few things for you all as we start rolling into spring.
I know we wanted to talk about spring burn down here, Kaycee, but I wanted to shout out fall burn down for a minute. And what an opportunity that is if you get it in the fall to make those applications. I was out looking at a trial I sprayed last October here today, and a huge difference between the check, the picture in the middle here, and then two different treatments on the right where we made a fall burn down pass. Just a lot less to deal with come spring when we get an opportunity like that. But we're here to talk about spring burn down today, and that field really provided some good pictures of what is out there. And I think these two really represent the usual suspects that we see out in the field this time of year. We've got a big mare's tail here. We've got a little one hiding over here on the picture to the left, but then we've got dead nettle in here. We've got common chickweed. We've got mouse ear chickweed. We've got bittercress. We've got yellow rocket. There's some bluegrass hiding in there. There's a lot of challenging weeds that have either greened up here in the spring or many of them overwintered with us over the winter. So a couple options for you to go out there and clean these things up. Number one is just basis blend. It's been around for a long time and it's consistent with a low use rate of 0.825 ounces to the acre. We can run that up to 2 weeks before beans are planted and right up to corn planting. Going to give you a really good burn of a lot of those weeds that are out there, get things cleaned up. The other one I wanted to shout out is Elevore, and this particularly comes into play if you're dealing with heavy mare's tail pressure or big mare's tail. Elevore is labeled up to 8-inch tall mare's tail. It's obviously not what we want to go after, but we can take it down with it and give you a really solid Group 4 option to go out there and clean things up as well with a low use rate of an ounce to the acre.
Yeah, we obviously don't want to be targeting 8 inches, but from your pictures earlier, there's some significant size to some of those fall merge mare's tails.
Sure are.
Elevore could definitely play a key role into that. Um, we always kind of come here with some random thoughts. So one thing we did want to mention is soybean cyst nematode. So I know from our winter meeting circuit, that was brought up in a couple different fashions this year. So one thing to remember is those most common weeds that we're going after from a spring burn down is actually a weed host for soybean cyst nematode. So purple dead nettle, henbit, chickweed can all serve as hosts for those to live in. So it's important that we actually get a good burn down. Obviously, ideally, we do that in the fall so these don't have a chance to overwinter, but it's extremely important from a spring burn down scenario then also.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to call out is something I was thinking about were soil temperatures, and we seem to get more limited planting windows in the last couple of years, and so having the opportunity to have warmer soils during those winters windows by having the green stuff killed off of there lets you take advantage of the windows that you get and get things planted.
Yeah, so use rates always come up when we're talking about spring burn down. I know over the last couple years, it's kind of been a hot topic from Roundup and 2,4-D. When we're talking about Roundup specifically, minimum is 32 ounces. I would argue anytime you're going out with an early application with a spring burn down, grass scenario or not, increasing that rate up to that 44 ounce, that max use rate, is where we want to be. From a 2,4-D standpoint, a lot of times we're running just a pint of 2,4-D. We do really recommend running a minimum of a quart to go after those broadleaves. If you're going to put it out there, you might as well make sure you've got enough out there to do the job. Sharpen would be the last most common thing that we talk about from a burn down scenario. An ounce per acre, that doesn't have any plant back to soybeans. But we do want to mention if you're running sharpen with one of our pre-emerge for soybeans like a Sonic or a Trivent. We do not recommend that you actually run those together. So that's why we talk about it now, running it with your spring burn down about 2 weeks ahead of planting. Or if you're running it now from an early application standpoint, just so we split up those group 14s.
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to add in here, if you remember back when we talked about cereal herbicides in our last video, We talked about how spring is just a really challenging time to make applications. So we need to set ourselves up for success before we even go out and start to spray. And number one is just thinking about our carrier volume. I really recommend 15 gallon to the acre minimum just to help us ensure that we get good coverage out there. And another piece of that coverage is nozzle selection. Just again, prioritize coverage with your nozzle selection there as well. When you think about a lot of fields, we're going to have a dense mat of winter annuals out there with a lot of small leaves that we need to get covered. So choosing a nozzle that's going to give you the droplets to do that job is really going to be important. The last thing is be aggressive with the adjuvants that you choose. These weeds have overwintered. They're hardened off. A lot of them have thick cuticles or hairs on there. So we're going to need to go out with a lot of firepower to be able to break through those defenses and get down into the leaf and get a good kill.
Yeah, so just want to wrap up with just a couple things here of the importance of burn down, and especially with us in Pennsylvania here from our no-till scenarios. But if you think about if we don't have a solid burn down, we can lose moisture. There's a big chance that we're going to fight uneven emergence, and then we're going to put a lot of pressure on those post programs before our season even starts. So spring burn down basically sets the tone for the entire season, and that's why we're coming to you today with just some key points, but nothing new from an industry standpoint, but start clean, stay clean, and then protect that clean start with residuals. Can't stress it enough, but our residuals play a huge factor from a no-till perspective in Pennsylvania. So hopefully we gave you some things to think about or incorporate in your next couple weeks here as you're out and about talking about spring burn downs with your farmers. As always, if you guys have questions for us, please reach out to myself or Justin. But stay safe out there and happy spring.
Thanks, everybody.